Well, Mike, let's get right to it. Official visitors for the Fighting Irish this weekend. Was it a good weekend for Marcus Freeman and his staff?
I would say so. Big group on campus, Darren. 13 players in total, 9 of whom who are already committed to the Fighting Irish. Just kind of briefly go through all of these guys who were on campus, starting with the the 5-star, in Elijah Rushing. Well, at least looks like his rankings actually changed there. And I think Rivals came out with a rankings update today. So his on-3 industry ranking actually dropped him to a 4-star. But still, number 30 overall player, number 4 edge in America, certainly in the 5-star discussion. Yeah, on campus over the weekend, the top schools for him look like they're Oregon, Arizona, Notre Dame, and Tennessee. I have him trending towards Oregon at this time, just coming off of the visit. The great Lou Emoji used to say, if you're tied with another program coming off of an official visit, then you're probably not going to get them, right? Coming off of an official, you need to be like the leader, because then he's going to go visit another school, and then that school might jump you, right? So I don't even think Notre Dame's in the top spot right now coming off of the official. So I have a hard time seeing Notre Dame landing the 6'6", 225-pounder out of Arizona. Cam Williams, big-time receiver commit for Notre Dame, was on campus out of Chicago. He was also in South Bend the week before. We got to see him at the Irish Invasion Camp. Solidly committed to the Irish, number 36 overall player in the country, number 10 receiver. Carter Nelson, Ainsworth, Nebraska. Very productive visit for Notre Dame here. Sources were really excited about where Notre Dame is following his visit, and got to talk to his dad, and in talking to the father, Jake Nelson, as well as sources, there's just a real strong feeling about how he fits in with the other commits. Just was one of the guys. So that could be a kind of an ace in the hole for Notre Dame there. Also official visits with, I believe it's Penn State and Nebraska coming up. So, Notre Dame continues to battle there. Georgia's another school in the mix, so keep an eye on Carter Nelson. This is the one, Bradley Shaw, a linebacker from Hoover, Alabama. I don't know if you guys remember some maybe 18 years ago or so. There was a show on, I believe it was MTV, about high school football, like a reality series, and it was on Hoover High School. I mean, one of the top programs in the Southeast. So going into that official visit, what I basically wrote was like, don't be surprised, if you start seeing predictions for Notre Dame to land this young man, and guys like me to say, hey, I think Notre Dame's the leader. And while I don't know if there's any predictions out there yet, I certainly believe that Notre Dame is the leader for him right now. And wouldn't be surprised again if I do pick that one. Notre Dame's looking really good. I think it's a Notre Dame Auburn battle. Arkansas is also a school to watch, and you can head to blueandgold.com for more on Bradley Shaw. Logan Thomas, Viper commit for Notre Dame. He took his official visit. You had Leonard Moore and Carson Hobbs, a couple of cornerback commitments for the Irish. They took their officials. Bodie Cahoon, a linebacker commit out of Virginia, originally from Zionsville, Indiana. Also on campus, of course. The last uncommitted guy to talk about, El Campo, Texas safety Oliver Miles, a 3-star player who Notre Dame really loves. Really good visit. Irish sources feel like they will probably eventually get him committed, but that battle still goes on. And then run through the other committed guys who are on campus. Brian Urlacher's son, Kennedy Urlacher, a safety out of Chandler, Arizona. A Viper prospect in Cole Mullins, who's committed. Teddy Rizak, a linebacker from Omaha, Nebraska. Then Sean Sevillano, interior defensive lineman who goes to school in Clearwater, Florida, but is originally from Canada. So that was your 13 official visitors. All in all, look, Darren, as we record this, Tuesday late afternoon, Notre Dame hasn't had any of those 4 commitments, those 4 uncommitted guys pledged to the Irish. Whereas this time last week, Notre Dame already picked up 2 official visitor commitments, from that weekend. So maybe not the immediate success that last weekend had, I should say the June 2nd to the 4th weekend had, but still a good weekend for the Irish, especially if you can get 1 or 2 of those top targets committed soon.
Mike, it seems like in terms of commitments for the 24 class, Notre Dame is near the top of the list in number of commitments at this stage in the cycle. With that being said, even though you can't take your foot off the gas, there's still more to do in making sure these guys stay in the class. Are the Irish able to spend a little more time on the 25 class than normal because they are, dare I say, a bit ahead of the curve for 24? Or is it more, this is the same process and it's going to play out the same way?
Yeah, 19 commitments for Notre Dame. That is actually tied
Okay.
for the most in the country, along with Georgia, Michigan, and Minnesota. So yeah, Notre Dame definitely racking up the commitments right now. Yeah, they would be doing the same.
Okay.
Honestly, I mean, I yeah, they're recruiting the 25s the same. Maybe they would be able to get after the 26s earlier.
Oh,
But
okay.
no, I don't have much of a reaction to that, Darren. I think they would be basically in the same spot.
Okay. So let's focus on the 24 class then a little bit more. Who's left on the board at this point for Marcus Freeman and the Fighting Irish?
Yeah, 19 commits, and I don't think there's many more spots to go around. So I mean, they got their quarterback commit. Look, I'm just going to go through off the top of my head, right? Let's just run through each position. They got their quarterback locked in. They're not taking a second. They got their 2 running backs committed, right? Aeneas Williams and Kedron Young. 3 receivers is all they wanted. They got those guys committed. They got a tight end in Jack Larson. If Carter Nelson commits, there's 2. If not, I think they stand pat with just Larson as your tight end in this class. They wanted 3 offensive line commits. They got 3. If Gerby Lambert comes in, great. There's 4. If not, I think they stick with the 3. They wanted 4 defensive line commits. They got 4. If Justin Scott and or Elijah Rushing went in, that could be 5 or 6. But if not, it's 4. They wanted 3 linebackers committed. They have 2 with Rezak and Cahoon. If Bradley Shaw wants in, obviously, so they're going to take at least 1 more linebacker. But if Bradley Shaw and Kingston Viliamu also want to commit, they would take up to 4. In the defensive backfield, 3 commits, 2 corners, and safety committed. If Caleb Beasley, the corner from Nashville, wants in, there's your 3rd corner. If not, I think they're good at corner. Safety is the big. I'm writing about safety every day at blueandgold.com because it's, you only have 1 committed and you want 2 more. Tay Johnson from Fort Wayne's looking really good for the Irish. He's announcing June 24th. I like Notre Dame to land him. And then you have guys like Oliver Miles, who we just talked about. Davis Andrews, safety out of Utah. He, would count if he commits, you would go on the blueandgold.com commit list and you would see him on there. But because he's taking a Mormon mission trip right after high school, he wouldn't actually count towards the scholarship numbers until 2026. So you don't really include him in the safety number. So he's basically a bonus. You have Miles, who I mentioned. Malcolm Ziegler is the safety from North Carolina visiting this weekend. Do they go harder after Anthony Robinson, a safety out of Louisiana? So, yeah, again, you definitely are taking 1 more linebacker and 1 more safety. But after that, you're kind of just taking those prospects who are too good to pass down. And then we'll see from there. But I want to mention, Darren, before we move on, is that's where things are right now. Right? So we're maybe looking at 24 guys in the class, 23, 24, something like that. But based on how fall camp goes, injuries, disgruntled players, whatever it may be, or Notre Dame just continues to evaluate 2024 guys early in the senior season film, they're like, oh, we actually love this receiver we just found. Let's go take him as a 4th. Very, 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 very subject to change. That's just how it is. If I were to sit here and say, this is exactly where things stand on the board for what it'll look like in December, I'd be just doing you guys a disservice. These things are very subject to change, but when I just ran through the board there, that's where things stand at least of June 13th.